Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another book review on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and the book we are taking a look at today is Vickers' Guide to the AR-15, Volume 1, Second Edition. So James Rupley and Larry Vickers originally did the Vickers' Guide to the AR-15, and they split it into two books. And basically, one is up through the end of Vietnam, a little bit after, and then the other is the modern development of the AR-15, because there's just too much to pack into one book. Well, Volume 1 came out first, and then Volume 1 sold out, and rather than just reprint more copies of it, they decided to basically go crazy, and the second edition of this book is 300 pages longer than the first edition. So, and they even went so far as to redesign the original Vietnam tiger stripe camo for the slipcase and the book cover. So this is in a slipcase. This thing is 648 pages long, which is, it's ludicrous. This book is, I think this is actually about the heaviest book that I own now. So we got a cool prototype Armalite on the front cover there. However, under the dust jacket, it is the same tiger stripe camo as on the slipcase. Go ahead and put that back in here for a moment. All right, so what did they do? What is this book? Well, this is a history of the AR-15 in coffee table format. But frankly, this thing's getting so big and it has so much information in it now that even though it disclaims being a reference book, it's really starting to border on a reference book. This is kind of wandering out of coffee table territory into legit reference territory. There's a dangerous amount of information in this. If you sit down at a coffee table to read this thing, you are in serious hazard of learning something. There is a bunch more commentary that has been added. There are a bunch more guns that have been added this time. There's material from, I think, 5 different museums in here, including the Central Armed Forces Museum in Russia, as well as Springfield Armory in the US, the Rock Island Arsenal in the US, or Springfield National Historic Site, I think it's called, and others. There are 5 additional Armalite prototype rifles. So of the rifles between Armalite number 1 and number 27, I think there are 11 of them in this book now. And they're all different, which is really cool. It gives you a chance to see what were they doing to these guns as experimental bases for various modifications. Now, in addition, originally this was written by Larry Vickers and photographed by James Rupley. For this huge second edition of it, they have added on, they've brought in 2 additional co-authors, those being Chris Bartocci and Daniel Waters. If you're into the AR, you may recognize those names. Chris Bartocci wrote Black Rifle 2 for collector grade. Daniel Waters has a fantastic history and timeline of the AR-15 at looserounds.com. They're both extremely knowledgeable folks. And they bring a lot of additional reference value to this book. There are a number of other contributors as well who didn't quite provide enough material to get up to co-author status, but this is very much a team effort of a book, and there's a ton of information in it. In particular, there are huge added sections on AR magazines, including things like the first 30-round AR mags had a constant curve to them. They didn't have the straight section and then a curve, and there's a lot of discussion of that in here. There's a whole significant section on, man, this thing is heavy, on the development of the M16A2, which is largely written by a guy named David Lutz, who was the heart of the A2 development project. And it's very interesting to hear his description of what was done and why and his justifications. And there's a little section on what could we have done better or differently with the M16A2, and that's interesting as well. There is, there's so many weird prototype interesting guns in here. Charging handle modifications, side charging ARs that were built by Colt in the 70s. Monolithic polymer lower guns, that shows up in here. That's pretty cool. Where have we seen that today? Belt-fed modifications, piston conversions done by Colt very early on in the 60s. What else? It's all in here. It's fantastic. This was a good companion book to collector grade Black Rifle, and now I think for a lot of people, this is going to be the more valuable of the two. There's not as much information in it as Black Rifle from collector grade. Not Not by a long shot. Like, this is not meant to be a an all-encompassing reference book, but it now includes fundamental, really good first-hand information on so much of this material that I'd be hard-pressed to not give it a very high recommendation, even if someone's not looking for a coffee table book specifically. So the price has gone up on this one as of this recording. It will be shipping in about 2 weeks. So mid-October of 2020 is when this is expected to ship out. This is one of the advanced copies that James and Larry were kind enough to send me. It's $109 and up if you want some of the extras. The slip case is an extra that anybody can order, which is kind of interesting. It's a departure from their earlier like limited edition bundle. Now you can get the book, get it signed, get it personalized, whatever you like, and then you can add on a slip case as a separate thing should you want it. Pre-orders are open now. It is only available through vickersguide.com. They're not selling these through Amazon or through any other distributors. So if you're interested in one, I'm honestly kind of blown away by the magnitude of information and just fantastic photography in this book. So if it hasn't come across already, I'll just say it outright there. Anyway, if you're interested in one, it's only available through vickersguide.com. Pre-orders are open now. Books will be shipping in the middle of October. Thanks for watching.